everybody, my name is Tanya and today I'm back with another of my very long overdue tag videos, the Sailor Moon tag. So this tag was created by Amanda at Stardust Panda and I was tagged by Jane at Yes Miss Jane, and links to both of their videos will be down in the description. I'm pretty sure I watched Sailor Moon a bit as a child. I don't think I watched all that much, but I did watch some Sailor Moon. But it's certainly been a very, very long time since I've seen it. So there are 11 questions and let's get started. So the first question is Sailor Moon, a book with a lost princess in it. And this stumped me for a long time because a lost princess, what's a lost princess? But I've now got something that works for this. This is something that I finished in January and I think it's probably perfect for this, though I can't explain it. And that is Dream is Pulled by Juliet Miller. Yes, this book I believe does have a lost princess in it. Can't explain to you how, but you'll just have to believe me. Just found a dead earwig in my book. Next question is Sailor Mercury, a book with a doctor in it, and for that I've decided to go with The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. This is one of her Poirot novels, one of her quite early ones, and one of her most famous. And this is narrated by a doctor, Dr. Shepherd. Dr. Shepherd is the doctor that's called to attend on the death of Roger Ackroyd, and he assists Poirot in his investigations. Question number 3 is Sailor Mars, a book with ravens on or in it, and for this I had the perfect book, and it's another Juliet Miller. Son of the Shadows is the second book in her Seven Waters series, and this book introduces the character of Fiacre, who is a raven. Fiacre plays quite an important part in this book, and we're never quite sure what he is, whether he's a normal raven or maybe whether he's something a little bit more. And so in the Seven Waters novella, which is contained within her short story collection Prickle Moon, Twixt Firelight and Water, we actually get the story of Fiacre, and it fills in some gaps in the story and is fantastic. Fiacre also appears in I think the next 2 books of this series. The third book, Child of the Prophecy, and again has an important part to play in that. And he's also in the 4th book, Heir to Seven Waters. I'm not sure whether he appears later, I can't remember, but these contain a raven. Question number 4, Sailor Jupiter, a book with the garden or nature in it. For this one I have gone with A Room with a View by Ian Forster. This one I've chosen because there is quite a fateful scene that takes place in I think a field of violets? I'm pretty sure it was violets, but a field of some form of flower. Quite an important scene takes place. Question number 5 is Sailor Venus, a book with a love triangle. Now I did the Top 5 Wednesday topic of Top 5 love triangles. I tried for that video to choose some love triangles that are kind of outside the normal or thinking a little bit outside the square, which I was quite pleased with the results of that one. So I haven't picked any of the love triangles that I mentioned in that. But for that video I had a runner-up that I was going to mention, but the footage was getting too long and I cut it out. But something that's really thinking outside the square. And for that, and you can't really tell, but I've decided to go with Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Now, you might think there's no love triangle in this, but I would argue that there is one with a difference. So this follows the story of our young unnamed protagonist who meets and marries a man named Maxim de Winter. Now, Maxim has been married before to Rebecca, the title of this story. And so when she gets to his property, Mandalay, she finds that the place is kind of haunted by the ghost of Rebecca. She finds that she's competing with the memory of his former wife, both with him and with his staff, and finds that she's having to live up to her expectations and feeling like she's falling short. And so I think it's a really interesting love triangle in the sense that it's a love triangle with a dead woman. Question number 6 is Sailor Uranus, a book with racing in it, and this is another one that I had to kind of think long and hard about, and I can't really come up with any books that have racing in it per se, but I've come up with something, and that is going to be The Well of Lost Plots by Jasper Fforde. Part of the premise is that the character Thursday Next can go into fiction, and when she goes into fiction she finds that there's a whole governing body within there called jurisfiction. Now one of the people that she deals with inside jurisfiction is the character of Miss Havisham from Great Expectations. Now this is actually her on the front cover here, roaring through with her big vehicle here, and throughout this book she's trying to break the land speed record, which is not necessarily something you expect from the Miss Havisham we meet in Great Expectations. So it's not exactly racing, but I think it counts. Question number 7 is Sailor Neptune, a book with the name Musician, and for this I've decided to go with Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. Now I don't read all that much YA fiction, but this is one that I really, really enjoyed. It really kind of got me right place, right time. I think if I reread it now I would still enjoy it, but I just devoured it when I read it. So Nick of Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist is part of a band. This one follows the story of Nick and Nora, surprisingly enough, and it's started off by Nick turning to Nora in a crowded bar and asking her to be his girlfriend for the next 5 minutes. They're both trying to avoid exes, and it sets them off on this kind of whirlwind trip through New York at night, following bands and music, and there's a lot of music references in this one, so I think it definitely counts. And as I said, Nick is part of a band, so Nick's named. Question number 8 is Sailor Pluto, a book with time travel, and for that I've gone with The River of No Return by B. Ridgway. Sarah, you've trained me well. As I mentioned before, and as she's mentioned before, this is Sarah from Sarah Actually Reads' favourite book, and if you didn't know that already, then I don't know where you've been, and go watch her channel and read this book because it's excellent. Question number 9 is Sailor Saturn, a book where a named character dies, and for that I've decided to go with And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This is a story of 10 strangers who are lured to a mysterious island, and when they're there, people start dying one by one, and will any of them survive? Question number 10 is Sailor Chibi Moon, a book with a child protagonist, and for this I have gone again with The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie by Ellen Bradley. I've shown this a couple of times now, but this follows the story of almost 11 Flavia Luce. Flavia is a wonderful child protagonist. She took me a little bit to get used to in this one, but I love her personality. She's definitely would be quite irritating in person probably, but I think she's delightful. And then number 11 is Tuxedo Mask, a book where a character wears a mask, and for this I have gone with The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. So I can't remember whether he literally wears a mask in this book. I think there are scenes where there'll be a mask. It's been a little while since I've read this, so the finer details are gone, but certainly there are masks all over this gorgeous cloth-bound classic edition, so it definitely counts. This is certainly a book where there are a lot of disguises used and multiple personalities or multiple personas, so if there wasn't actual literal mask wearing, but I think there was certainly the idea of mask wearing and concealing your identity. Also, this is an absolutely epic book, and you should really read it. I know it's huge, but it is fantastic. As that was the Sailor Moon tag, there were some really interesting questions in this one that I had to think about for a while, which is not the only reason why it's taken me so long to do this tag. It just hasn't quite happened, and there have been other videos that I've been wanting to make, but there were some tough ones in here. Now, I wasn't quite sure who to tag for this one either, because I don't know who is a fan of Sailor Moon or who would be interested in this one, but I've decided to tag Alicia at Exlibris because I was watching one of her videos and she has Sailor Moon bookmarks. So because of that, you're tagged. Of course, as always, if you'd like to do this tag, consider yourself tagged and let me know down in the comments so I can check out your video. As always, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!